Just dialing that one up.
Yeah.
250.
Yeah, right.
I actually really hate that song. And it's like a very unpopular opinion that I'm not afraid to say in front of anybody named Jean Grae. I'm not afraid to say that in front of anybody named Jean.
Oh my God.
I really hate that song a lot, though.
Why?
What hurts you?
I have a question for a rapper. How could you hate the Loving Summer Jam?
It's just like, it's not a song. It's like a commercial or something.
It's an ad for summertime.
Yeah, summertime doesn't need promotion. It's ubiquitous. Okay, we already know.
Do you know how much sales of Summer went up after that song came out? Through the roof.
700%, Mike.
They were sold out of Summer in my neighborhood.
It is just jealousy. I wish I had the PR team the summertime had, I guess, is what it is. But I don't know. That didn't seem. That was one of the first rap songs where I heard it and I was like, he didn't write this shit.
See, right.
I don't think he did.
It's very clear that it's from him.
Yeah, he definitely didn't. But like, I'm not supposed to be aware of something like that when I'm 12. You know?
I don't know. I think it's not fair to hold rap to like a different standard when it comes to writing necessarily, because there are people who just write great songs.
Sure.
And when you hear it happen in rock or happen in pop, you're like, oh, I know who wrote that. It's not the person who's singing it, but we tend to give rappers a hard time about that.
I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that rappers aren't very open about that, first of all.
Yes.
And so there's that authenticity issue. When you hear a rap song, you're assuming whoever is saying the lyrics wrote them, and they never, they typically don't get in front of that.
A lot of them specifically claim within the lyric to be the author of the lyric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they will say that the quality of said lyric is high quality lyric that I've composed for you, and here it is. You get that a lot in rap and punk. It's like you're expected that your first person accounts of your feelings are quite genuine, and then people feel betrayed when they discover a ghostwriter. But people feel betrayed when they find out cartoons aren't real. I mean, it's like, grow up, kids.
Yeah. So these were all your questions, Mike.
You say what?
These were all your questions.
Yes, my first question was, why do I hate summertime? So we crossed that one off.
Just asking it of yourself?
Yes.
Do you want us to bring a mirror out?
But I do have a question for everybody on the panel. We all do a lot of traveling. Unless, hypothetically, if you're in an airport and you bump into somebody, people have their small talk and they ask what you do for a living. What do you say?
I suss it out.
Yeah.
If I can get away with saying, "Oh, I'm a professional rapper,"
You go with that first?
then I'll do that. If I think that'll lead to a conversation that I want to have. Otherwise, I'll say I'm in music. Mm-hmm. A lot of people will ask what you do, but they don't give a shit. So then that's like, don't offer them this. Don't then offer them something they have to follow up on.
Gee, what do you say?
Well, now I answer very differently. My go-to answer, because I feel like it has mystery in it, is I do whatever needs to get done.
Mm-hmm. That's a beautiful thing.
And they're like, huh. Which is exactly the feeling I want. But I used to say, unfortunately, I'm a rapper.
Mm. Why'd you say unfortunately?
Because I felt very unfortunate about it. It's okay, you guys. I've dealt with those feelings.
Also, now she's transcended into true polymath. Her,
Yeah.
final evolution on the, what is that, Yu-Gi-Oh?
Something.
Oogie Naruto. Any anime nerds here? Pokemons, are those the ones that fully evolve?
Yeah.
You're asking the wrong person, but I think so.
Yes.
That's the ones that hidden all around the boat,
Yes.
right?
My question for rappers is, can you please go on a deep dive about Pokemon for me? I don't understand it, and I'd love to, and that's a good use of our hour.
Chloe, what do you say when people ask you what you do?
Excuse me. Excuse me. It's somewhat like that. Either I say I make music for a living or something like that, or I like kind of do like a, it's like a little bit of, and I'll run that on until they kind of change the subject. You know what I mean? Just kind of like a little this, a little that, and they're like, well, this conversation is going nowhere.
I also avoid it, but I always think that's a really interesting thing. Just about everybody I know who raps for a living just does not want to say that.
Well, because it's not like, you know, it just doesn't sound like doctor. So there's this thing where people look at it like it's not a career.
Right.
So when you say that after a certain age, it's like, oh, so you're just like a giant baby then. Is that what
Oh, you guys.
So you do nothing then.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should try being white. Anything that I assert is my job is instantly accepted as true.
Yeah, what's the reaction when what's the reaction like for you? Being like, I'm a rapper. Is it mostly like, huh?
Oh,
Right.
really?
Well, that's why I'm reluctant to have the conversations, because it's either like sort of like, oh, and like, that's so weird. Like, they'll just let anyone do that, which is fine. That's like a reasonable reaction. Or else it's someone who's like, ooh, wait, I'm a true head, and I would like to now discuss 10 bands that I'm not personally cool enough to even know who they are. And then I do a lot of like nodding. It's like, oh yeah, that's my industry, and you're telling me all this stuff, and I can't hold up my end of the conversation. And I should have said I was an accountant.
Yeah, I'm not much of a dictionary when it comes to rap. I know what I know. Maybe in comparison to a lot of the people I know. So that's actually one of my rap pet peeves is the guy or lady or whoever the person that knows the name to every song, knows the lyrics to every song, knows the track list, knows the track, and then they just want to like do rap trivia on you every moment that they can, because I don't know the answers to any of them at all. Yeah, that would be my one. No one asked that question. I just
It's good to preempt.
That's good.
getting it out the way.
Man, so I mean, G, what is your relationship to rap, man? I guess we can ask that of everyone too, but I'm really interested in your answer because you used to say it, unfortunately.
I will. I always talk about it like a weird ex. I'm like, I always have love for it. We're just, I figured we're not right for each other. I love writing. I always said that I was more of an accidental rapper. Like, I didn't ever sit down at one point and be like, that's it, that's what I'm going to do. I wanted to write, and I wanted to make beats, and also I wanted to be better than everyone doing things around me. And most of the people doing things around me were rapping, and I was like, I can fucking do that. I can do that better than you. So that's kind of how it happened, and then grew with like challenging myself. And I'm fine with rapping when I want to,
Right.
but not rapping on demand. I don't want to do that. I don't think anyone should have to do that. Like, if you feel it and you're like, oh, I feel like doing this now, it's going to make me happy, it's going to make me feel good, then absolutely. But otherwise, I feel like my talents can be used best in other ways. It's 25 years. It's a lot of rap.
That's
It's
true.
too much rap.
Nobody's like, Gene, you haven't rapped enough. We've got.
It's so much.
You can do whatever you want in music anyway.
Yeah.
You've been rapping for 25 years?
No, I've been putting out music professionally for 25 years.
That's fucking amazing.
I'm old.
Wow. Well, okay, so like, what year did you start rapping? And I'm gonna ask everybody that too. Like, what year did you start? Like,
I'm sure I was like 13, 12, something like that. Yeah, that sounds about right.
when did you start?
I mean, for fun, in high school, like on stage, not until college, and then only a little bit
When you rapped in high school, did you like rap with like the people you rap?
A couple of friends, we would write raps and perform them for each other, like, you know, in the shed in the backyard.
Backyard rapping, like backyard wrestling, but rapping with 2x4s.
Backyard rappling.
Dude, I'm gonna cut into that because I always think it's interesting. Like when someone asks, like, when did you start rapping? A lot of times they're like, do you remember the first rap that you wrote? Oh. No.
If I had 20 minutes and a pencil, I could reconstruct it. The rap band was called Freak Show Archie, and the idea was it was like the land of Riverdale, which at that point had not had a dark, gritty reboot, but it had one. It had one in our minds, and like Archie was this like sort of beleaguered rap impresario who had his kingdom had fallen or something.
Now, were you all different characters, or were you all Archie? Like...
No, yeah, Archie was a nebulous entity who we rapped about in poetic terms. Like, it wasn't like in character stuff, and we never like maybe mentioned Riverdale once. The whole thing was kind of high concept. My friends were already doing it, and I just wanted to join in. That was my first rapping.
What were you listening to at the time?
This is like 1989 through 92, listening to like De La Soul, Chuck Called Quest, Public Enemy. I never have known about a single rap band that everybody else didn't already know about, and I think my hip-hop fandom came from Yo MTV Raps finally coming on the air. I mean, I was surrounded by rap in the East Bay, and I knew who Too Short was, and I knew who Hammer was before he was famous, right? But it wasn't, like, I was excited about rap when I was able to see the videos every day, just like the rest of white America. And the first CD I ever bought was that DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince record. Scraped my allowance together.
Quelle, when'd you start?
About 12, 13, same thing.
Yeah.
Bunch of buddies. First song wasn't as great as Frontalot. I believe one of the first ones was called You Just Farted.
Yes! Fucking classic, man.
I'm pretty sure the chorus went like, you just farted, you just farted.
I mean, speaking of reboots, I feel like time is ripe to bust that one back out. There's not nearly enough songs about farting. I don't think, personally. I started when I was like 15, and it was being around a bunch of like older guys we've seen older who were just getting together and freestyling, and me and my friends in high school thought it was just the fucking most amazing thing to ever just see people like making shit up and rapping and being on time and saying interesting shit. And then one day me and my homie just got together in the back of like this fucking KFC on the south side of Chicago and just like sat and like made each other rap because we were both like nervous as fuck to do it because we didn't want to be terrible, but everybody starts terrible.
Yeah. That's a difference between now and then. And I always end up talking to people about that a lot. It's like, you had to be good because you weren't really allowed to come out the house and rap if you weren't good. Like, you know, the internet didn't exist. Right. So you had to prove yourself, then prove yourself, and then someone would tell you that so-and-so heard that you were good, so then you'd have to go, like, I used to battle.
Right.
So, yeah, so, like, you know, even in school, like, I would get out of class and there would be someone waiting by my locker, like, you know, it's time, I heard you were great, you know, and so, like, yeah, it was you had to work at it and have your homies, you know, spar with you and stuff. So
yeah, we used to like do like three-way on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Have we call the other home, like all of our little crew would just be on the phone, just rapping bad to no beat.
Yeah, just going back and forth.
Like that was our like closet rap cipher until we were tight enough to like get in front of people and rap.
Mm-hmm. No, I used to play the beats through the phone. I was the studio. So I would play the beats through the phone and we would record them onto the answering machine.
Oh, nice. That's tight as fuck. Innovation about farting.
And that's what we used it for.
Did the beat have a fart in it, or just did you guys say fart?
No,
Or
Tim
did the fact
LeGrone was our designated farmer. Farter.
Farter.
Yes.
Fart farmer.
Yeah.
It's a technical term. And speaking of beats, I think everybody here makes beats as well, right? Like everybody kind of self-produces. And so like, you know, to whoever want to answer, like what was that journey like to not only decide to start rapping, but decide you wanted to tackle the beat side too and get good enough where you can like make your own projects?
That's what I was doing before anything.
You were making beats before
I was
you
making
started
beats
rapping.
before anything. And yeah, I was, you know, giving beat tapes to everyone. And then, but listening and like sitting in on the ciphers and listening to them, and like some people will be like, oh, cool, I didn't think about doing that to that beat. And then a couple of people, I was like, you just fucking destroyed that shit, give my tape back. Wasted all this time. But yeah, I didn't consider doing anything, and in writing or in rap, I thought I was just going to be making beats for everyone and engineering sessions and stuff. I wanted to be behind the scenes. That was a good way to end that. Thanks, guys.
I came at it from the production side. I was super interested in trying to achieve something at some point in the field of home recording. I had 4 tracks in high school and college, and then the computer got fast enough, and I was like thrilling to have CD quality multi-track studio in the computer that I already had to spend that much money on because of video games. You know, I'm not going to have some weakling computer. It's harder to run Doom than it is to run whatever the music software was. It was Cool Edit Pro. Anyway, I didn't think anyone would ever want to hear me rapping. I thought it would always be something I did in my room, edited together to make it sound as though performance competence had been achieved, and I would release it kind of anonymously into the internet, and that would be my rap career, would be like the rest of my musician career, which was just trying to create enough material that I had production chores to do. So I was super into making beats, super into mixing and like what all the effects can do, and I had been since high school, and that's being a music performer is almost incidental. I just lucked out that people wanted to download those MP3s a lot.
I don't know. I think. Whoa, that was loud. Hey, I don't. I guess you have to really keep your NPR on when you're doing a panel. So I guess I would say I technically, because I have a younger brother, so I would say I kind of started rapping and producing around the same time. But I would give the forefront or the lead to production, because like you remember how like on Genesis and different systems they would have like the BGM, and you could do that. So that was kind of like how me and my little brother used to go at raps, you know, early too. So I would just like find a BGM for a game, like let's say Bomberman something or something, and you know just run the first like some odd parts of it, then start it over, then run the first some odd parts of it. And
how were you getting the sound out? Like you were using an actual file from the game?
Yeah, we would just turn on the game system and just hold the control and keep running it back and over until it was done. And then but my older brother, I ended up getting an SP, can't remember which SP, 12, and then he had an MP because he had went to Detroit, and he was kicking it with Bob 10 and you know Sloan and them, and he came back and was like, I saw this thing. It was called a MP something, and it was like a piano, but for samples. Like it was just so smooth. So he went and got one of those, and that basically like really turned me out to production. And from there, I was like hooked to production and rapping. And then my older brother, who got me hooked, ended up becoming a doctor and leaving me to doing rap for a living.
So when you say it doesn't sound like doctor specifically.
Yeah. No. He was like, here, take this, and I'm going to go do something real with my life.
And you?
I mean, I've always made beats, and I always just like heard beats, because I've always listened to like music that's really outside of hip hop while also listening to hip hop. So like I would hear these They Might Be Giant songs and be like, damn, that'd be tight. Like, nobody using that shit, right?
When I met Mike Eagle, the way I was able to impress him into wanting to be friends with me was by just dropping the fact that I'd hung out on the JoCo Cruise with Flansburgh.
I was already a fan though, because like you said, you put out those MP3s and you didn't know what would happen with those when you first put your music out. But one of the first things, you got recommended to me by somebody I was in college with, and they gave me a CD full of your songs. And that was one of the first things I heard, is that you had a They Might Be Giant sample.
Right.
Shit, and I was fucking pissed. I was supposed to be the first human being to mix those two, so I mean, I'd already been a fan. But it's interesting for me, because you put out music not expecting to make a career out of it. So like, what was that process like? You put out MP3s, and I mean, and you were one of the first like rappers to really like get over like on the internet, right? Like without any other kind of presence.
I think that like the idea in 1999 was still that if you were good enough at music for anybody to pay it ever, like that anyone was ever going to know who you were, then some label would discover you before, you know, a sizable fan base would amass. And so it was kind of their job to push you in every media, including this new internet thing.
I still have trouble shaking that. Like, I still feel like that's still how it works, even though I know that's not how it works.
But so I think it was only people who did not expect to have a career that would be like, and also, like, I don't know how many rappers had web servers that they were in charge of. Like, that was true. That was my avenue to rap stardom. Those FTP passwords.
I mean, was there nervousness though? Like once songs started to catch on, like what did it feel like to you? Was it easy to step out and actually like inhabit this character?
No, and I remember the first few times I tried, it like they would be on tape, right, and I'd listen right after or the next day, and it was like so profoundly embarrassing, like how bad my rapping sounded, that it would make me even more determined to just, you know, disguise my identity. My original MC Frontalot page just had, it was a gallery of all the most famous rappers. It's like Biggie and Vanilla Ice and Eminem, and they all had just like the middle of their face blurred out. So you could easily, it was like famous portraits of them too, like instantly recognizable who they all are, and just the caption, like, here's Front in a pensive moment between steaks, here's Front on the cover of, like the whole website was like, this is an unlimited avalanche of lies that I'm into, and he's MC Frontalot, and you will never know where this music comes from, and see if you can scrape some enjoyment out of it. Anyway, but then, yeah, Penny Arcade discovered Yellow Lasers, and then they were sharing me with their audience, and a few years after that was like PAX started happening, so I had to put together a serviceable live show to do PAX. And then it was like, wait a minute, like if the PAX crowd is responding to it, we should practice and gig in New York and get good and then tour. And I mean, why not, right? If the nerds demand something, the thing must occur. And I'll tell you, before that I was doing web design and like freelance editorial stuff. And having fans is so much better than having clients. So as soon as I realized that, I'm like, well, I'll transition if I'm able.
Wow. Did we want to start getting questions from the folks? Anything else?
I love questions from folks.
I don't know how we're gonna do this. I mean, I can Donahue this. As Hosmer said.